Okay, yeah, so anyway, our guest tonight is Dærick Gröss, and give it away, Daerick.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't quite know where to begin or what you would be most interested in at any given point in a 50+ year career. Started out drawing in high school. As I went to college, I picked up some side work illustrating program covers that got me interested in doing caricatures. So I studied Al Hirschfeld, kind of borrowed some of his flowing line work and evolved that. As I got out of college, I got a job advertising for a year or two, and then into television studio doing set designs and stuff for the live performances. Finally over to a newspaper, and this is in Cincinnati. And at a newspaper, I was doing daily cartoons and fillers, illustrations, and special long-term pieces for the weekender things. So I was able to refine my pen work, because everything back then was black and white, and all the line work. Was there for 3.5 years. Picked up some outside advertising along the way. Got a job with Playgirl magazine doing cartoon strip, my first panel-to-panel experience. Not terribly wonderful, but it lasted about a year. That and a client for advertising brought me to California. Out here, picked up advertising, movie poster work, TV work, a lot of caricaturing. LA Times had me do quite a bit for a year or two. And then I hit comic books. Somebody was looking for some artists to start up a comic book line for their martial arts books. And I jumped on it. It was black and white. And that's where I'd honed my edges, learn how to do panel to panel better, tell a story, write a story, lay out the panels so they made sense, work the camera angles, the whole bit. That led to a job with Image doing an Anne Rice book, Vampire Lestat, which was a painted book that I started out painting over Joe Phillips. He backed out or pulled away on it, and it fell into my lap. And I started doing the initial drawing, layouts, and then the painting. Started screwing up schedules because it was more work than one person was supposed to be able to do in their timetable. Plus, I was a little on the slow side because I'm a perfectionist when it comes to it. That knee has to turn a little more to the left type thing. But we got it all done. We did a subsequent couple of books. That opened the door to the Batman thing at DC, and that ran around to some independent companies and finally over to Marvel. And I did quite a bit of stuff with their cyber comics, where it was all pencil and ink, mostly pencil. And then started my own books, tried to anyway, own publishing. And here I am now, working some digital books with a lot of companies. While I was here in California, I also started a daily comic strip in the local newspaper called Oregano. It was just a bunch of weird characters that lived in a place that I called Oregano, so I could have a bunch of variety of people types. And that's now being relaunched. It ran for 2.5 years, I think, daily. It became more work than I could handle, particularly on the thinking end of it. Like, how do I come up with another joke? Now I'm revising it digitally and adding color to it and turning it into some alternate variations of the original, along with 3 other single panel strips that I do periodically. One is called This Old Man, and I play with my age and things that go on. One is Snarky O'Hare. It's just a character rabbit that likes to be sarcastic about anything and everything. And one is At the Top, where I play my thoughts on the power players and the moneymakers and their silliness. And I briefly did a political cartoon called Trumpy, where I picked at the idiosyncrasies of the then president, trying to not be political or nasty, just, this is weird, why did they do this type stuff. So that's the cartooning side of my career as opposed to the comic book and other. And here I am.
Wow. That's a lot.
You got to do a lot to bring the money in because a lot of it doesn't pay very well. But the few that do, you just keep going back for. And
So this has been full time for you.
Beg pardon?
This has been full time for you. You don't have
Oh,
a
yes.
side job. This is what you do.
Yes, yes. Once I left the newspaper and came out here in 78, I've been freelance illustrator and just always knocking on a door looking for another project that could fill in the gap between this one and the one that's 3 months from now. I did a lot of teaching and other odds and ends to fill in some of the spacing along the way. But yeah, and I still play around, although I'm trying to get digital from tangible. I don't enjoy it as much on some hands. I like being able to erase that, click, it's gone. Instead of, when I go back to tangible, I find myself, okay, where's the button to make that go away? Oh, I can't, I got to wipe that out. It's they both have their ups and downs, but I miss the feel of paper and board and pencil vibrations and all the stuff that you get with the real tactile work when I'm on digital. And right now I'm looking at you on a big screen, touch screen, draw pad. So I'm open for questions.
What are you doing now?
Oh, mostly commissions, and I'm overseeing a couple of online comic books. Tentatively as an art director, but more as just an advisor rather than a director. Because when I get into directing, I get into arguments. If I advise, then it's a little more open-handed. But those are freebies. For money, it's commissions. I've got quite a few pinups and a couple of cover assignments and some book illustrations that are ongoing. The rest is just to pull my thumbs.
Could we see some of your artwork? I mean,
No.
I know everybody here wants to see it.
Absolutely not.
No.
Yes. Preferably comics or cartoons.
Everything.
What a choice. They both sound wonderful.
Well, I mean, where to start? All right, let me see if I remember how I did this before.
Just go down and hit share.
Yeah, but I have to have something opened up first. Let me click on this. This is non-humorous for the most part, line art. Does that open? Okay, that's not good. All right, there we go. And then share and that. Share. Now, do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
That was done when I was working in the newspaper. It was just for an ad on the sports department, and it's not a terrific scan. That was a piece I did back when we used to have the paste on dot patterns and zip
Mhm.
screens.
Right.
Strictly for a portfolio piece. Oh, my dragons on a, or vampires on a, that was a calendar header.
Hmm.
A bunch of characters for a game, a role-playing game, RPG.
Very nice.
Some of the individuals. Oh, my Archangel. And that was for a horror film. And that was for book illustrations on love, sex, and the army. A couple of pinups.
Nice.
The anatomy is a little overworked if I were to do them over, there would be quite a bit of difference. I refuse to go back and fix things.
Woo-hoo.
Well, that was back from the pre-70s.
It looks
Right.
like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was in college when I did that.
I think it's great.
My Halloween cat.
Mushroom cat.
I'm sorry, if I'm going too fast, let me know. These were portraits for the interiors of an album for a theater group. Again, with the rub down dot patterns. I'm going through a folder as they're set up in the folder, so that's why you're getting a lot of duplication. That's a very dirty scan of a program cover I did for the Cincinnati Ballet Company. This is my favorite style, the lighthearted line work that borders cartooning, as well as the really abstracted line and negative space work. But I don't get a chance to do that very often. It's more of that army thing. A bunch of cartoons I had to do as a commission for a company that called themselves Consumer Pigs back in the 80s. And let me see what's coming ahead so I don't accidentally click on something that shouldn't be shown. I have done quite a bit of adult work as well along the way, but it's usually separated.
I think we're all adults here.
Okay, this is upper and lower half of a poster that was done for a gift store of sorts back on the college campus in Cincinnati.
Very beautiful in Art Deco.
Nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
That's where I was starting to refine my, trying to refine my movement of line and form with the anatomy. Oh, and this is from Marvel's Cyber Comics at Sideways. That was an opening story page. It had dialogue in here. And this is from a rule book, another role-playing game. The next several will be of the same kind of, same book.
I like the action in that one.
Thank you. Little trick I picked up from studying Bill Sienkiewicz. Splatter. Adds energy. Anyway, that's a bunch of the line work I've done that are not panel to panel over the years. So what's coming up? That's about it for that category, or at least for that folder. Repeat, 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 repeat. Okay.
Nice.
Close that out. Come to something else. Let me run into something in color, if that's okay.
Oh, yes, please.
This was a comic book cover.
Beautiful.
It was my first ever digital color.
Very nice.
The character's name is Flair. She is with Heroic Publishing.
Were you using the airbrush for the flare there?
Well, it was digital. So yes, the airbrush tool for the flare part.
Right.
This was long enough ago. I'm not sure how else I did anything else. Somebody who did a lot more taught me how to do, once you get the original black and white line art, whether it's scanned real or done digitally, you make cut two copies of it. And one is the bottom and one becomes the top, and you hit the multiply button so you can see through it, and then you put all your color in between. So that much I learned from doing
You got some very delicate gradients in there.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice.
Good. I'm glad somebody pays attention to that.
Well, it's very, I mean, it's very well done computer art. It's very delicate, very watercolor-like.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this was a actual trading card done in gouache. Roughly, I think the original was close to 5x7, maybe 7x9. They're small, and there are a ton of those around.
Gouache can be unforgiving too. That's gorgeous.
Whoop. Wrong button. There we go. I'm sorry, say again.
I said gouache can be unforgiving. That is gorgeous.
It is unforgiving until you have played with it long enough that you understand it. It is my go-to medium, that and Prisma color pencils. If I work color, those are the only two things I use anymore. But yeah, you have to understand gouache. It's a real learning curve, to be sure. Oh, this is Nadvergold's Gem. It was white on black paper and then cut out and mounted on blacker paper. That's why you can see some of the edges, which were not there by the time it became an ad. Again, gouache. It's just meant to be, it's a book interior page.
You really do negative space so beautifully.
Thank you. I love playing with negative space. That adds some dimension to the illustration that otherwise isn't there.
If you hadn't told me this was gouache, I would have said colored pencil. And it's got that deep glow you can get with colored pencil. God, that's pretty.
I may have used some pencil here and there within, to like maybe right here, to help fill in some spacing that the gouache didn't do right, or I wanted to shift. But overall, it's a gouache painting. When I use pencil over gouache, it's just for tiny little touch-ups that are easier with a pencil point. Okay, we're going to see this another 3 times here. There we go. Oh, this is a black and white of a cover I did for a TV magazine back in Cincinnati for, I forget the name of the TV series. He was a psychic detective of sorts. And, oh, okay. Next is a bad, don't save. Oh, yes, save. Spider-Man.
Ooh.
I said bad because it's gray, it should be white.
It looks Art Deco again.
Yeah, I can see that. It wasn't in my brain, but I was trying to play with what Ditko would do with his webbing and the knots and the stuff.
Beautiful.
Okay, next is a cover guide.
Ooh.
There are a lot of illustrations for this, the gentleman who writes this book. Most of it is very adult.
Looks cute though. Oh, that's nice.
It's a combination of digital
Nice
art.
design, yeah.
Nice design.
Thank you.
Well, you've got a lot of professionals here on the meeting, and we can appreciate good design and good layout and production values.
Thank you. Let me jump ahead and pull up something different here. Close this one out. Okay, open this one up. Whoop. Oh,
Ooh.
are you seeing this, or did I do
Yeah.
it?
Yes, it's gorgeous.
This was a character, it's a comic book character. It was done for a cover. It's called Jade. But I wanted to show this. This is entirely colored pencil.
Wow. Look at that. Smooth as glass.
except where my scans didn't quite match.
What do you do? Beautiful.
I've been very happy with that one.
Mhm.
Another same company, another cover, my really offbeat anatomy. Tiny head, long neck, but I got too caught up in playing with the hair.
Your hair is wonderful.
That was my only reason for saying yes to doing that cover. Because the character is not a particular favorite of mine. But I love the hair.
It's really fun.
Okay. Continue on or go to a different arena or more conversation or what's on
Well,
anyone's mind?
It's
Well,
all fascinating.
yeah, I could look at this stuff all day, but I'm curious what, since you've worked in so many different parts of the business, what did you like and what didn't you like about the comic book business? I'm curious.
Oh. Deadlines.
Amen.
I have my biggest hang up that I've never been able to get past for more than a page is every panel to me is a full illustration. Now I'll lay it all out very quickly, get the panels and the arrangements and the story flow and then rough in the setups. But when I start to get down to the final art, whether it's pencil to be inked by someone else or me, it becomes its own illustration. And I spend way too much time on each panel rather than the whole page as the art. And so that slows me down. That's why deadlines annoy the heck out of me. Beyond that, but that's not their fault. They're on, deadlines are mandatory. I understand it, just they're not good with it. I like, for me, a finished story with the dialogue and everything to then draw into, rather than a rough layout to draw how I think it should be and let them then dialogue it afterwards. But to me, then I wrote the story. Why do I need them? I would much rather get inside the writer's head and give him what he's putting down on paper and make that visual the one that works. So I will run love and hate with whatever the company's format or formula is. That's about it as far as anything negative or positive.
Okay.
There are individual people that I do or don't like more or less than others, but that has nothing to do with the actual working in the comic industry. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Anything else?
Do you go to a lot of shows or are you pretty much a stay-at-home guy?
Used to, not so much anymore. I started going to the conventions in the in the late 80s, early 90s. Set out for a bit, then back in again in the late 90s, right through the 2000s into about 2010. Now, I'll go to a show here and there now and then because I enjoy meeting the people and talking to them. But I don't like taking all the stuff in, setting everything up, getting it ready for the show, and then tearing it all down and hauling it back home again. When I can just sit at the table and carry on the same conversations without all that. So yeah, but because I believe in the industry, I want to support the fans that come. So I do try to put forth an effort from time to time for those who may remember me to show up. Although these days it's more of a toy convention and movie and anime
Mm.
convention and not so much comics.
Mhm.
And when I go to the comic convention, it's that are strictly for comics. The crowds are small. There are those that are searching for old books or trying to sell old books and all that, but outside of enjoying comics or talking, no, they'll do it online
Yeah.
like this.
That's kind of the world
Yeah.
we have these days. I should mention that a new convention has showed up in Port Angeles, which already outgrew its space after the first year. It's called SquatchCon, but it's going to become SquatchCon and some kind of NerdCon next year. And it looked like we had plenty of space for cosplayers, comic book people, magazine editors. It was really mix and match. It was kind of like your old conventions.
There we go.
And you're going to have it again, April 2023. And I'm the outreach coordinator. And fairy godmother. That was the title I got. So, but that's a fun little one in Port Angeles if anybody's looking for something like that. But yeah, having various folks like yourself would be an addition.
The San Diego Comic Fest, which might be this
Mhm.
weekend, I'm not
This
sure.
weekend.
I've only been to it once. I know, I suspect Donna and Roberta have gone multiple times, but it's great. It's very much like the San Diego Comic Con in the early mid 70s or so,
Mhm.
when I first started going, and it's small and it's just centered on comics.
It's wonderful. It's
Oh.
get a chance, San Diego Comic Fest. It's a marvelous little show.
It's next weekend.
Oh, next weekend. Okay.
Next
Mhm.
weekend. So yeah, in San Diego.
Mhm.
Okay, if I may, move back for a moment. Since we're talking Cartoon Society,
Mhm.
cartoons, I mentioned I had started one called Oregano. Do this right again here. It's this, then this, then this, then this, and this.
Oh.
Oregano mostly was silly and play on words.
Mhm.
Started out with characters called Solomon and Garfunkel. Solomon was this little miniature knight, and Garfunkel is a dragon, which shows up in some of the other cartoons. And it grew into this character, Podge, and her brother Hodge and Podge. And then a variety of other little characters that run around that came in handy just because I needed something to punch the action.
Mhm.
I'll leave these up long enough to be read if you can read them. I don't know if you can see them.
Mhm.
Again, mostly for wordplay.
Is that a goose?
Let me back up here, go the other direction. Oh, this was the guy who had the strip below me, lived in the same community I do, so we were friends, and so this went into his strip then for the next day in the paper.
Leaping.
The reindeer is named Vapid because he tends to be brainless.
What newspaper was this?
I'm sorry, say again. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, what newspaper was this?
Oh, the Simi Valley Enterprise.
Hmm.
Simi Valley is one of the larger suburbs, if you want, out of LA. Well, there's Garfunkel. anyway, that ran for almost 3 years.
Ooh,
Then,
not bad.
thank you. If I can see what I'm doing here. I have taken some of the old ones and no, not that one. Give me one quick moment here. I thought I was organized, but I'm not. And here we go. So cancel this. Okay. Pick this, and then this, and then this, and then this. This is now adding color
Mm,
for the digital reincarnation.
I like the addition of the color.
mhm.
Yeah, I try to keep it limited.
That's nice. You're using gradients again.
Yeah,
Very delicate.
to me, it adds life.
Mhm.
Still looking for singles. There, oh, there they are. They're hiding. Now I've also gone into doing singles of the characters.
I see.
I'm gonna have to, because they're in a different folder, cancel out and go back again. I'm sorry.
Well, you actually have got your folders pretty well organized. Zoom can be confusing sometimes. We've had some problems. You're doing quite well.
And here's Garfunkel.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Oh, that was unexpected. Well, that was for a high school reunion. We were the Dragons, the other school was the Falcons. And I don't know how to get out of this sudden full screen.
You mean how you unshare?
No, I've got a full screen picture here and I can't, there, okay. I'm back. Ambrosia, one of the characters, here's episodes. In singles, okay.
That's funny.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I've gone on then, clear out some of this, from reviving that old series into some new ones. This one's called This Old Man. Where I don't draw fresh every time. I've got about 6 images of him that I just use over and over and over again. In different positions and different color backgrounds, because I'm old and tired and lazy. started out as this old coot, and I decided I didn't want to be called a coot. That had to do with a recent event at the time.
Nope.
That's one of my favorite things. I do say that to the grandkids.
It's the other room babysitting God.
They believe me too.
So true.
Yeah. The things don't really work anymore.
Subject matter beside, I kind of like your single panels that I've seen a little better than the the multi.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Get more of a better. You're a better gag cartoonist.
I appreciate hearing that. I like them better too, but I wasn't sure why.
Well, I think it's a little more summary of life and,
Mhm.
I don't know. But yeah, as somebody who does gag cartoons, I enjoy those.
Mhm.
Thank you. May I run a couple of others past you?
Oh, please.
Or am I running out
Sure.
of time? Oh, I got a little time left. I don't want to bore you.
No,
You're not
no,
boring
I'm
us.
enjoying it.
We're quite enjoying ourselves. I mean, I am. I don't know what,
I mentioned Snarky O'Hare.
Yeah. They have nothing to lose. Die anyway. Yeah, looking at you.
Jeez.
Could be true.
Some of them work, some of them don't. And some I got a lot of flack on. Anyway, that's the life of Snarky.
I like Snarky. I think he's my new best friend.
Yeah.
Okay, he's pretty cool. He's a hare, isn't he?
Yes.
He's a hare. Biggest dinner, let me die happy.
There's one in particular I'm looking for, and I can't.
Brazil nuts. Why? Because you can't get them open?
Among other things, I mean, what do you do with them? I'm looking ahead here to see if I can find one in particular that's a personal favorite and jump to it. Oh, well. Oh, this comes close. Okay.
It's a special occasion. Mhm.
There's another one just says simply, "Hey, you, get off my planet."
Come.
All right, then my last other semi-regular version of these. As if I can find the folder. Where'd it go? There we are at the top. Called At the Top. Oh, they're all, each one's folded separately. Thank God, I got too organized.
Whenever I do one of these, I start up a new folder, you say my Zoom folder, and I grab everything and drop it into there.
Mhm.
And then for
That
the
was my
show,
plan
I'm
originally.
gonna have to tell all the, I'm also the speaker cartoon coordinator for this group. And so I think I'll just tell the next guy, just dump it all in one file, make
Mhm.
copies. Then you can wipe the whole thing when you're done with it.
Or you could have an alias to those folders and put
Mhm.
it into a Zoom
Yeah.
folder.
What was the original cartoons that looked like that? I'm trying to remember. Remember the little guys in the chairs?
I'm not aware of one. I'm sure there was.
Oh
one.
my God. It was back in the 50s. There were little guys in chairs, just like that.
Hmm.
Well, this is dipping from the same fountain. When you come up with an idea that you didn't get it from somebody else, but because it's, like I say, you're dipping from the same fountain, it's the same water, and you end up doing something that looks like somebody else's, but you didn't see theirs.
Right.
Right.
It's
Bless.
von denselben Fountain Flüsse schöpfend. I forget the word for fountain. No, it's river.
Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Now I'm shuffling. It's not working. There we go. All right.
It's
Well,
being a machine.
all right. I was trying to move from one folder, a couple of them into that initial folder, but it didn't turn out to work that way.
Well, you did pretty good.
Yeah.
We got to see a lot of art and hear a lot of.
I've also, if anyone is curious, some of the stuff when I worked on a newspaper,
Ooh.
I had to work full page, so I drew very big. This is a tear sheet.
Oh, who's the?
Now this particular one's from a college campus paper.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It had to do with opening of football season with the sororities and the fraternities. And just because it's fun to hold things up. This is a comic cover that's gouache and mostly colored pencil with a touch of gouache on black board.
Wow. I hope you're not insulted when I say this is so smooth and the values are so steady that it looks like computer art.
I'm not at all offended yet. I may someday.
I mean, it's very, very, very unified. The color is steady.
I just fell in love with working with colored pen, particularly Prismacolor pencils, because they do blend so well and so easily.
Blend beautifully. They're so rich.
A lot of effort. Here's a somewhat workable page from the Forbidden Planet series I did with Robbie the Robot and the guys from the Saucer.
What medium are you using there?
Gouache.
Gouache. Oh my God.
With colored tape to do the borders.
Oh, would you look at this? I mean, it's amazing.
not the best drawings of faces and things. that
No,
I've ever done, but,
it's gorgeous. Stop that.
yeah, and 32
Really
pages per issue.
Wow.
Lots of fun doing Robbie.
Mm-hmm.
And, from Marvel, when they were doing their cyber comics, which was an attempt to animate comic books before animation was a thing in the internet. Did a lot of horizontal panels
Mm.
because that's what they wanted for the screen. This was a story of the Hulk and Spider-Man teaming up against Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted all the pencils to be shaded and molded rather than just solid line. And did a bunch of, then when I did
Oh,
break
nice.
into panels, they were usually 3 across.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful, clean panels.
And whole bunches of stuff like that.
Mm.
This one story is one of my favorite pages. And one more, and I'll stop.
Beautiful, clean pencils. You must have been fun to ink.
It never got inked.
No.
That's why they wanted the shaded pencils. It went straight to color.
Straight to color, yeah. Which makes for a beautiful softening of line and color.
Mhm. Initially, after the first, I'd say 20 some issues, you can call them issues, they started doing away with the shading in the pencil and going into straight hard line outline like a typical comic,
Mhm.
but not ink. Because by the time I drew the final line in pencil, scanning it made it as dark as ink would be anyway. So it just,
Mhm.
it just eliminated that step
Get over.
and gave me the inker's money.
All the professionals here are going, yes.
Good. Anyway, unless there's an arena specifically you would like me to move into or talk about or show, because I got 50 years worth of stuff here. I haven't gotten rid of anything.
It was quite amazing. I enjoyed it
Oh, very much so. Me too.
very much so.
Yes.
Everybody else is so quiet.
Some of them are on mute.
Well, as the speaker coordinator, I also sometimes, when people don't have questions, I kind of take over the role so that our speaker has some questions.
Yep, understood. It's an important role. Oh, we had a nice crowd.
It was. Yeah, it's got some nice people on here.
Yes, indeed.
Very good workers in the field. And
What does everyone do?
well, I do my 2 best known comics are The Desert Pizza and Stents, and you go
Yes.
to donabar.com and you can find everything. But right now I'm I've been running Comic Cons and helping other people run Comic Cons. Sounds crazy, but you kind of have fun.
Yeah, it's great to be in charge.
No, on
No.
these. I am the sergeant. Thank you very much. I am not an officer. I work for a living.
Excellent.
You know that line.
John, what do you do?
Well, I wrote Disney comics for, I don't know, 20 years or so, and did a tiny little bit of writing for Marvel. Well, actually, let me rephrase. The other thing I'm best known for is Last Kiss, where I bought the rights to a bunch of romance comics when Charlton went out of business.
Ah,
And and I fix up that art with the help of some real artists and re-dialogue it. Used to do it for Comic Buyer's Guide, if you're familiar with them. Did that for a number of years as like a 2-panel gag. And then since being on the web, I'm on Go Comics and I do it as a 1-panel gag. And I use some non-romance art that's in the public domain and done some fair amount of licensing, but it's not the best pain.
Yeah, but Daerick, you should look him up. He is absolutely hilarious.
I will do that.
One of the funniest things out there.
Thank you. And Tony Isabella has been contributing gags the last couple of years, and which is just, Tony's a joy to work with.
Yeah,
So,
I know Tony.
yeah.
If I may move on, I want to hear from everybody. So many people here. Jeffrey, what do you do?
Well, first I unmute my thing here, which always takes me a second. My kids know all this Zoom stuff very well, having done the COVID thing at home, but I'm still kind of figuring it out.
Oh, you're unmuted. We can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm an engineer, and I also do rental management, which means I do a lot of landscaping, which I call shovel art, because I'm out there with my shovel and I'm making pretty things with my shovel, pathways and garden beds and stuff like that. I'm affiliated with Cartoonists Northwest just because I've done cartoons in the past. I do one character in particular, which some people here will remember, a character called Snow Bunny, and that's spelled SNOWBUNI, 8 letters. From back in the day, 8.3. So snowbunny.com is my site. There's almost nothing there right now because I finally took it down because it was too hard to keep a cartooning site what with all the hackers out there. It used to have games and stuff like that, but I just couldn't maintain it. I didn't have the time or the professionalism to plug all the leaks in it. But yeah, I occasionally, my first meeting I attended for CNW was in 1984, and I've been kind of dropping in every now and then ever since then.
Well, thank you for coming aboard.
Well, thank you. I've really enjoyed your talk.
Thank you. Let me find somebody else here. Next in line, going in sequence, would be Amy Malmdeen.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I would have to say that I have not taken the straight path like a lot of people have. I've had a lot of things I've had to take care of. And so, like, as I say, when I was raising my son, I was working on soft sculpture stuff. But I do sculpture and I do drawings, and I have published a couple of books, but they didn't get much attention because they came out right when COVID came out.
Of course.
And what was interesting was to look online and see how many entities said they were selling my books who were not approved to sell the books. So that's kind of an interesting thing to look at.
Wow.
And lately I've been doing these things, what I call what I see as an EYEC, and I'll take a picture of something, and then I'll juxtapose a copy of that picture, but draw on top of that of what I see, because pareidolia is what I have, the propensity to see images and things. And I have loads of fun with it.
Oh, cool.
So then other than that, I'm just holding down the forts because my husband is stuck in London now with COVID. He's 3 months in London, 3 months home. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Would love to see some of that art over photo work you do.
Yeah, if only I could show it, but I can't right now.
Yeah, understood. Let me move on. Thank you for coming. Roberta's iPad.
Okay, I'm Roberta Gregory, and I've been doing comics for a really long time. I mean, my first did them in college in the early 70s, and first published story was in Women's Comics 74, and published my own comic book, Dynamite Damsels, in 1976, and do a lot of short stories. I'm best known for Naughty Bits, which was a 40-issue series published by Fantagraphics during the 90s.
Yes.
With my bitchy bitch character, who was like animated and such. So I'm actually about to work on a bitchy bitch strip for World War III magazine. So she
Ooh.
appears in.
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah, she's kind of bitchy bombing everything. I've got a deadline of that. I've had to move out of my big studio upstairs. I'm in my little art closet now, which is about like 3 feet wide and 6 feet long, just about fits my drawing table in a cabinet.
Yes.
We're in the process of buying and selling property, and I'm taking care of a sick person, so it's been a busy life. But I'm gonna draw a bitchy strip. I'm excited about that. I'm so
Can't
excited
wait.
about that. And
Yay.
you got too.
Wonderful. Thank you. Maureen.
Hi. I don't really do much at all. I've done
Oh,
No.
in the past, I've done clay sculptures that have ended up in sugar decorations, making the molds for that on top of cakes. I've done packaging design. I've done a few cartoons. Mostly, I just like, I'm envious of everybody here that can draw so well.
Maureen doesn't tell you that if it was not for her, this club would not still exist. We call her mom. She ran the banquets. She ran the parties. She made sure everybody was welcome. I mean, without this woman, this club would not exist. Not today.
Thank you, Donna, but it takes everybody together to make it
Suck
happen.
it up and take a compliment, Maureen.
Thank you, Donna.
And thank you. Thank you all for listening to me, asking me to be here. I loved it. I'm done.
Did you ask Bill what he did? Bill is our president, and he is incredibly prolific, and he has all kinds of good series and things going on.
That's right. I did not ask him.
Okay,
Okay, Bill, your turn.
okay. I'm an illustrator. What I work on that most people would have recognized most is a slice of life daily comic strip called Rhapsodies, but I've been dabbling with a few other ideas as well, including a space opera and a young adult's urban fantasy. And on the side, I just started my latest A Song of Ice and Fire illustration challenge, of which this one is the latest picture of the day.
Woo.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. Another show and tell, not just me. Yay.
I feel I should probably introduce myself. I'm not really a cartoonist per se, but I'm a big enthusiast of cartooning and comics and, you know, just the graphic novel medium, things like that. I'm a 19-year-old full-time student at the moment.
Yay.
And I am not, yeah, like I said, I'm not much of an artist at all, but I'm hoping to maybe get into the space, learn more about it, mostly as someone who's been a big fan my whole life. And
is it the art or the humor that you are stronger at?
Definitely the humor. I have pretty much no interest in doing art. As much as I love it, and as much as I love cartooning and comics for the art, I am definitely just, my hands are not made for it, and neither is my head. But you know, there's plenty of stuff to do in cartooning and in comics and everything like that that isn't art and is still part of the business. So just trying to maybe do what I can.
I didn't mean to skip over you when I was going down the list, but
oh no, it's all good. I haven't said anything. My camera isn't on. I get you.
How do you pronounce your name?
It's Ziggy.
Ziggy.
Yeah, it's an odd name.
Well,
Ziggy,
welcome, Ziggy.
Yeah, where do you go to school at?
I go to school at Seattle Central. I was invited to come here by Leonard Reifus, who teaches the comics, manga, and graphic novels class there.
Yes.
Very nice.
Are you on social media?
No, I'm not actually.
Oh.
Rather proud of that.
So no one could get in touch with you if they should they ever want to.
If you want to get in touch with me, you can send me a message and I can give you my phone number, or my email. I'll put my email in the chat right now. If anyone wants to get in touch with me.
Email would
Yeah,
be
if you
good.
look below where it says chat, that's
Yep.
where everybody can talk to each other, give each other various addresses and things.
Ah,
Oh, I added an extra A there in Gmail, but if anyone needs, someone to help out and things that a 19-year-old is potentially good at, which is not most things, but more than happy to help, always looking for work.
excellent. Well, you said you
But,
wrote.
you say you're not good at artwork, but there are venues that you could still publish in, even not being good at artwork. I've done self-publishing, and there's a lot of people out there that express themselves through mini comics, and they're being a bad artist is not necessarily an impediment to
Well,
getting your work out there.
I've heard that many times before, and I always have this trouble with artists. But I would like to make a distinction that it is not just that I am not good at art. I am also not interested in making art.
That's
which I
valid.
know-
That's perfectly valid.
I know. It's at this point, a lot of
That's
people, but
reasonable.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
reasonable. Ziggy,
Mhm.
could I ask you a quick question? Now, you
Sure.
said there's many, many, many different parts of the comics industry.
Mhm.
And are you at all interested in the organizational side and the business side of comics, or are you more
Definitely.
interested in the? We all have to know the business.
I mean, I'm personally at the moment a business major.
Oh,
That's going to help.
Yeah,
we need business majors in the comics business.
Yeah, I mean,
Really
something I
do.
realized is, I'm not that I'm not the most like creative person. I write a little, but when it comes to art, I'm not the most creative person. But I realized if you have a lot of knowledge on business or marketing or economics, you can pretty much go into whatever field you want to, because they all need it.
Well, I'm going to drop my several things down here that if you're interested, including my email, which, we're all friends here, and then the SquatchCon.
All right, let me.
SquatchConPA.com, which is the Comic Con, which I got involved in and thought was going to be small, and it already was told by the person who runs the venue that we outgrew the venue.
Oh.
And it was the first year, and it's going to take over Port Angeles. It was so much fun. Next year, we're going to have a bowling league.
Donna, I came that close to coming to SquatchCon this year. I had almost signed up and everything, and I'd cleared the weekend with my wife, and I thought about going, but I could not find more information about it online, and I looked all over, and I finally got to the point. I thought, well, maybe this is one of those things where 6 people show up on a table somewhere, and I didn't.
Well, what happened was dozens of tables showed up and dozens of cosplayers, because just the thing is, if you look at the address, it's SquatchCon PA, because there's okay, how there are thousands of comic book shows? Well, there are on the West Coast, especially, dozens and dozens of Sasquatch shows. And so this is SquatchCon, but she added PA to it, SquatchConPA.com. And let me tell you something about this really quickly and why I am in awe of Jess, who ran it. They decided in December of 21 that let's have a Comic-Con. Let's add a Comic-Con to SquatchCon. In February, they started to organize. It went on in April, and it blew up all over town. Hotels got, filled. The Red Lion offered a discount block. What happened, there's an anime store up here. Jess didn't know anything about running a Comic-Con. Drew, who runs the anime cat, said, talk to Donna. She's run Comic-Cons. And basically, Jess, every single thing I told her to do, she went and did. And this thing got massive. We didn't have enough room for anybody. It was crazy. There was people partying all over town. Wow. And selling stuff left and right. It was wild. And the cosplayers were professional level. They could have
Wow.
gone in at San Diego.
Oh,
It was incredible.
I'm always amazed at what people are doing now.
Well, the thing was, she
So-
came up to me at the end, and she's an adorable little thing with pink hair. And she comes up to me at the end and she said very shamefacedly, I've never been to a Comic Con, and my jaw hit the ground. I literally stood there like this.
Well, she has a really high bar now because it
Oh,
sounds
let
like
me
you had
tell
a
ya.
really good time.
I have never seen such courage in my life. She took on a Comic Con. She's never been to one, and she blew it out of the water.
Uh-huh.
If you get a chance, SquatchCon PA, it was a blast. It's going to be
SquatchCon
even
PA.
more fun.
And do you have documentation there, pictures, videos, stuff like that?
If you go to oh Lord, the gallery.
I'm gonna look it
Well,
up
if you
right
go
now.
to I'm trying to think where you could actually find it. They're a little bit, it's oh Lord, I can't remember the name of the gallery they actually run it out of. But if you go to my Facebook page, I've got references to it.
Okay,
but
I'll have a look.
How many people attended?
I don't know, dozens and dozens. They had all kinds of tables all over the place. At one time, they tried shoving them outside under the covered parking lot, and then the wind come up, which was icy cold, so that was horrible. And then we had to cram everybody back in, and everybody was on top of each other. And this was in the wharf in Port Angeles, and we were falling over each other. There was, people crammed into there was people crammed into the ATM space, but just to try to sell. They had to shrink down their tables. I don't know what she did, but she blew up her attendance. You figure there'd be a few cosplayers and a few people dropping in. Everybody was cosplaying. We'd have people going by in everyday clothes and just wearing elf ears. And I had for Anime Cat originally supposed to be doing a workshop with costumes, and I had collected a whole lot of inexpensive but glorious costume parts from the thrift store up here, and so I dumped them on a table. And I said, have at, and everybody just took whatever they wanted. And for the rest of the convention, you'd see pieces of these costumes getting worn by people going this way. And then later on, other people were wearing these people's faces going the other way. And then the theater group people, the people who ran the theater group and everything said, you got to get us more for next year. So now I have become the junk store hunter for SquatchCon PA. It got out of hand. It went a little crazy. It is just as much fun as some of those earlier conventions before some of the crap came down. And it's just a joy. It's up there in Port Angeles. Port Angeles, I want to tell you, it's like it's becoming like San Francisco in the 70s. It's very hippy dippy. And the weird thing about Port Angeles is you can put on any kind of costume you want and walk around the streets. You can get dressed up as can-can dancers like one theater group did and go to a restaurant, and they'll just ask you what kind of coffee you want. Nobody will notice you if you wander around Port Angeles in a costume.
I suppose I could ask you later, but what do you recommend for a hotel there? That was one of my little drawbacks.
The hotels are not bad. The Port Angeles Inn is very nice. And then there's a bunch of little cheap motels all over the place. They're not great, but they're less expensive. And Red Lion is definitely doing room blocks for this. So there's all kinds of little things in there. And anybody is welcome to email me, and I will help them find whatever it is they need. Because like I say, I'm the outreach coordinator. And the way that happened was I was talking to people about the convention. I realized I didn't have a title, so I called myself the outreach coordinator. And I asked Jess, can I do that? And she says, yes, please do that. And then at the end, she told me I was also the fairy godmother.
You could call it the outleach.
No, I don't want to get that attached to anybody. I just, drop and run. So I have a tendency to be a bit energetic at these shows. So yeah, please do. Anybody, if you want to come to SquatchCon next year, they've already got it. I think it's the weekend of 13th through 16th is when they're doing it, which is very close to San Diego Comic Fest, which is the only drawback there.
I'll have to check it out. I haven't been to a Comic-Con since like middle school, I think.
Oh, this one's if you're near Port Angeles in Washington State, it is great fun. Great fun.
I'll check it out.
There's some more art.
So I wanted to tell Daerick, I don't know if I said the name right. If
Yes,
you
you did.
look on Instagram, I'm Amy Armed with Pen. And you can then see, quicker snaps of images of things I've done, but there's also pictures of food. Sorry.
Wait a minute, not Amy Armed with Pen.
Yeah.
Amy, can you put that in the chat notes?
The
so that
problem
we'll
is I don't have a keyboard in front of me that's working. My
Oh,
little keyboard,
okay.
the battery's dead.
Oh, okay.
So
You're disarmed here.
I am. And also though on Facebook, it's just what my name is up here, Amy Malmdeen. So yeah.
All righty. Thank you.
You're welcome. I like Instagram better because it's just a quick snap and you don't have to go through all the junk.
I'm the other way around because I don't have a cell phone, so I don't have picture taking ability. So I have to come back to the computer to load up anything I want to say on Instagram, and then
Gotcha.
hashtag this, hashtag that, and hashtag this. And
See,
hashtag
I haven't learned the hashtag thing
Facebook
yet.
is easy. But anything I load on Instagram goes to Facebook anyway, so it's all the same.
There you go.
Thank you. I will follow through.
Thank you, Daerick. I enjoyed your talk. It was very fascinating.
It was wonderful. Thank
You're
you
really-
so much, Daerick. That was
Yeah, you're really
beautifully done.
down to earth. It was just fun to hear your stories. And I like your little cartoons too.